Okay, good afternoon. So I'm Jonathan Shapiro, and I will speak today about how to implement a store and forward teledermatology consultation in the general practice. And these are my disclosures. So we're talking about asynchronous communication for a teledermatology consultation, and there are two main setups, as was mentioned before. There's a provider-to-provider setup where the primary care physician consults directly the teledermatologist, and the second setup where the patient consults the teledermatologist. So this is how it will look in the first setup. You have the patient who consults his primary care physician, and eventually it's a dermatological condition where he feels he must consult a teledermatologist. So the patient can consult his primary care physician in any one of these ways. It can be face-to-face, or store and forward, but the primary care physician is consulting the teledermatologist with store and forward. The second step is where the patient is consulting directly the teledermatologist, and he's sending him images and metadata. Metadata is all the information that is related to the image, including demographics, location, duration, description. This is an example of how such a consultation will look like. And there are many physicians who don't accept this setup. They think, I heard these physicians in other sessions and other conferences, they're against a direct consultation between the patient and the teledermatologist. I think it should only be done between physicians. And they have good reasons, and we'll address these reasons to understand how we can implement such a platform which mediates directly between the patient and the dermatologist. So their reasons include issues of photo quality, partial anamnesis, there's no total body examination, there are cases which are not suited for teledermatology, there are no dermoscopic images, the poor documentation, no integration with the EMR, with the electronic medical record, loss of patient-doctor interaction, there's no follow-up, data security and legal issues, and more than that, there are also barriers and challenges in implementing such a platform, which involves reimbursement issues, how do you monitor the work of the physicians, platform maintenance, technical support for patients and for doctors, medical support for doctors, and ongoing satisfaction surveys. So you need all of these for implementing such a system. Now we know that store and forward teledermatology consultations are effective. There's only a partial list of the works done to prove this, except some exceptions. And there are many guidelines that were published, that were mentioned before. I like these by the American Telemedicine Association, where Professor JSV was one of his main writers, and they divided the guidelines into clinical practice guidelines, which include preliminary considerations, telemedicine management of the patient, quality issues, ethical considerations, and to administrative guidelines with issues regarding security, privacy, licensing, credentialing, and liability, and technical guidelines, including device and equipment, image quality, image display guidelines, connectivity, privacy. We don't have time to review all of these, so I will keep the rest of the time on being very practical. So this is the setup we're talking about. It's a patient which has internet communication. We're talking only at the setup where the patient is consulting directly the teledermatologist. That's what I'll be talking about. And he can send the information or through using a secure platform or an unsecure platform like email and WhatsApp. We don't encourage that. We prefer using only a secure platform. But of course, most of what I'll be saying now is relevant also for a non-secure platform. And the teledermatologist, also, we can have a few setups over here. One setup will be the private setup. We call this many-to-one. This is the setup of Dr. Tatiana Brown, which presented to us in this session, where you have one dermatologist who has this platform for treating her patients. And you have the public setup, where you have many dermatologists treating many patients, and you find this in outpatient clinics, in inpatient clinics, and HMOs. And over there, the same patient can be once treated by one dermatologist, and the next consultation be treated by a different dermatologist, and he shares his electronic medical record. And this is the setup I'm going to talk about today. This is what we will focus on. So this is how it will look. This is how this platform will look. You have the patient sending using a secure platform, sending his consultation to the teledermatologist who's working in a public setup. And you have the patient's environment, which you need technical support for the patient for using the application. You need public inquiries. The patient will have questions. They may have complaints that we have to address them. You have to have ongoing satisfaction surveys all the time so you can improve. And you have the teledermatologist environment, which also needs technical support. You need a professional manager. You need an administrative manager. You need a legal office and risk management, which we have questions, ongoing questions all the time. And we have all this in Maccabi Healthcare Services. This is the setup that we have. You're welcome to come and learn about our setup. This is me. This is my job. And we'll talk about the secured platform. So over here, there are two options. One option is having outsourcing from a company outside your organization who will build the platform which mediates between the patient and a teledermatologist. And they'll be very happy to do it for free. There are many companies like that. All they want in return is the data because they're developing their algorithms to do AI. And in this case, the physician is responsible manually to integrate the data in the electronic medical record. We, of course, will prefer having an integrated platform which is built into the computer system of the medical organization, and the patient can use that for his consultation, and then the data is automatically integrated in the medical record. This is, of course, preferable. So let's talk about integration into the medical record. And we'll take the consultation and break it into stages and see how we do that. And we'll start with the anamnesis. What's very important is to copy and paste the information received from the patient as it is into his designated field. That's a legal problem. You must have a copy of what the patient sent you. The next thing you have to do is review the medical record and the past medical history and the past relevant case history, because remember, the patient, by the time you see his consultation, he may have sent it a few days ago. It's store and forward. You may get the consultation only after a few days. He may have been treated in the meantime by someone else. And one of the most common complaints we get from patients is, for example, he can write a complaint. I consulted and the patient referred me to do patch tests, but I did patch tests last month, but he doesn't see that in my medical record. He referred me to do a biopsy, but I did a biopsy. So it's very important to review the patient's medical record, and after you have all the data complete, write it in your own words, in a new field, in a medical way, so other physicians, when they read what you wrote, they'll understand why you're doing what you're doing. If there's any missing data, document it. If you decide to call the patient because you need more information in synchronous communication, document that also. Then we have to describe the image. So we describe the image exactly the way we describe in physical examination. And it's exactly the same way. You just say, in the image is presented, and then you describe just like you describe in physical examination. If the image is in bad quality, document it. If you need more images, document that also. And let's talk about image quality. We want the image in maximum focus, no selfies, good lighting, not through a mirror, from close-up and from a distance. And if you need help, ask for help for taking the images. We call this the shower position. No matter how much we explain to the patient, no selfies and not through the mirror, this is their favorite position. They stand in the shower in front of a mirror, and you can't understand anything from these images. Special locations, they try to take images from their scalp. It's very hard to make a diagnosis. Mucous membranes, genital regions. If you need help, ask for help. The same with child handling. Sometimes taking an image of a child who's moving can be like taking a selfie. So ask for help. You have one parent holding the child, the other parent taking the image. Okay, and the next step, we write the differential diagnosis. We have to write in detail. Document if the diagnosis cannot be established. Document if it's not suited for teledermatology. And we use the words based on the images and history provided. My impression is as follows. Those are the words recommended by those guidelines. I like this wording very much. And then we can write the treatment plan. Important when you document the cases, work object-oriented or problem-oriented. The patient sometimes sends a mix of different complaints, and the text is mixed. He's moving from one case to the other. So work very organized, differentiate between the cases, and document every one of these separately. Remember also AI algorithms are learning from what we're writing. We're going to talk about that later, and it's very important to work in an organized way. When we're finished with that, we're going to send the patient data. We'll send him electronic prescriptions, electronic referrals, and we'll write him a letter. And this letter is extremely important. I mean, in the patient's view, the quality of this letter that you're writing to him, that's the quality of the medicine that he's getting. I mean, when you see a patient face-to-face, there are many parameters which say if the patient, what's the quality of the visit, if he had to wait a long time outside, if the physician was nice to him, if he was polite, did he explain? Here, the quality of the letter is the quality of the treatment that he's getting. Important to write an introduction, reminding the patient that this is an answer to his request. Sometimes a few days passed, they don't even remember they sent a consultation, they don't know why they're charged for it, and we don't resolve spontaneously. To remind the patient with an introduction, write the differential diagnosis, explain the diagnosis, ask for more information if it's needed. Explain the treatment plan, explain side effects of the treatment. If it's urgent, notify the patient, even call him if you have to. And detail duration of treatment, define failure of treatment, and instructions for follow-up. This is also very important. It has also a legal reason to do that. I always end my consultations in the sentence, if it doesn't improve in 5 days, or if it gets worse, send another consultation or see your primary care physician or dermatologist face-to-face. So this is the flow chart of how we work, and try to make it simple. We receive a new consultation. The first thing is to validate if the identification of the patient, because we have sometimes patients stealing identification of a different patient who does have insurance. If that happens, you have to notify the patient. After it's validated, review the consultation, complete the anamnesis, review the medical record, and decide if you need images, because you may not need, not every consultation requires images. For example, if a patient sent a consultation saying the last prescription you gave me, I went to the pharmacy and it was missing, I need a replacement, you don't need images for that. But if you need images, if the image is bad, if it's bad quality, ask for a new image, that's the end of the consultation. If they're good, but if it's an image of a pigmented lesion or a neoplasm, in Maccabi Healthcare Organization, the legal office does not allow us to write consultations. In this case, he must see the dermatologist face-to-face. Of course, unless your shirt has to be biopsied, so you won't waste the patient's time, you'll refer him directly to a plastic surgeon or a dermatologist who does surgery. And is there any other reason why the consultation is not suited for teledermatology? If yes, you write that for the patient and you wait for more information. And if everything is good, we can continue. And we go over his medical record and check, was he, in the meantime, until you received the consultation, was he treated in the meantime? And if yes, do you agree with the recommendations he received? If you agree, everything is fine, notify the patient. If you do not agree, so you're actually writing a new consultation, and you ask yourself, can I complete this consultation without, do I need more information? If yes, ask for more information. If no, you can continue and complete the consultation. So the quality of the teledermatology is the quality of the documentation. Remember that these platforms are, this is perfect for training AI. You have the image, you have the diagnosis, you have the treatment plan, and there are algorithms. Even the organizations themselves are building AI algorithms based on the knowledge that they have. So my take-home message is to teach these algorithms with the same honor and respect as teaching your own student and residents. These are our future physicians. And I'm going to say a few more words about teledermatology in the past few days in Israel. You know, we're in war now. There was a horrible terrorist attack on last Saturday with over 1,200 people tortured and murdered in horrific ways. About 200 people taken captive, including children, women, and elderly, and civilians of other countries, from Thailand in the east to the United States and in the west. And really touched my heart walking in the streets in Berlin and seeing the Israeli flag next to the Reichstag on the Brandenburg Gate. And we've seen in these past days a decrease in the usage of teledermatology in about 30 to 40%. And it probably reflects the fact that the population is in extreme stress, and they have other urgent or survival issues that they're dealing with right now. Almost all my colleagues couldn't make it to the EADV, but it was important for me to be here and deliver the message that we really value the international support, and we need it, especially your support, the physicians and the scientists, to help release the captives and hope to end the war and have peace between Israel and the Palestinians. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shapiro. So we have one question.